Started looking down some. Okay, so this is from reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, chapter 8. Lord Narsimha slays the king of the demons. I'll read the introduction. As described in this chapter, Hiranyakashipu was ready to kill his own son, Prahlad Maharaj. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared in front of the demon as Sri Nrikeshari, half lion and half man, and killed him. Following the instructions of Prahlad Maharaj, all the sons of the demons became attached to Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When this attachment became pronounced, the teachers, Sanda and Amarka, were very much afraid that the boys would become more and more devoted to the Lord. In a helpless condition, they approached Hiranyakashipu and described in detail the effect of Prahlad's preaching. After hearing of this, Hiranyakashipu decided to kill his own son Prahlad. Hiranyakashipu was so angry that Prahlad Maharaj fell down at his feet and said many things just to pacify him, but he was unsuccessful in satisfying his demoniac father. Hiranyakashipu, as a typical demon, began to advertise himself as a being greater than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Prahlad Maharaj challenged him, saying that Hiranyakashipu was not God, and began to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Declaring that the Lord is all pervading, everything is under him, and that no one is equal to or greater than him. Thus he requested his father to be submissive to the omnipotent Supreme Lord. The more Prahlad Maharaj glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the more angry and agitated the demon became. Hiranyakashipu asked his Vaishnava son whether his God existed within the columns of the palace. And Prahlad Maharaj immediately accepted that since the Lord is present everywhere, he is also present within the columns. When Hiranyakashipu heard this philosophy from his young son, he decided the boy's statement was just the talk of a child, and forcefully struck the pillar with his fist. As soon as Hiranyakashipu struck the column, there issued forth a tumultuous sound. At first Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons, could not see anything but the pillar. But to substantiate Prahlad's statements, the Lord came out of the pillar in his wonderful incarnation as Narsimha, half lion and half man. Hiranyakashipu could immediately understand that the extraordinarily wonderful form of the Lord was surely meant for his death, and thus he prepared to fight with the form of half lion, half man. The Lord performed his pastimes by fighting with the demon for some time, and in the evening, on the border between day and night, the Lord captured the demon, threw him on his lap, and killed him by piercing his abdomen with his nails. The Lord not only killed Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons, but also killed many of his followers. When there was no one else to fight, the Lord, roaring with anger, sat down on Hiranyakashipu's throne. The entire universe was thus relieved of the rule of Hiranyakashipu, and everyone was jubilant in transcendental bliss. Then all the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, approached the Lord. These included the great saintly persons, the Pitas, the Siddhas, the Vidyadharas, the Nagas, the Manus, the Prajapatis, the Gandharvas, the Charanas, the Yakshas, the Kimpurushas, and the Vitalikas, the Kanaras, and also many other varieties of beings in human form. All of them stood not far from the Supreme Personality of Godhead and began offering their prayers unto the Lord. Their spiritual effulgence was brilliant as he sat on the throne. Bhagavatam, all through the Bhagavatam, there's many examples of prayers from Lord Shiva, prayers from Narad, prayers from the demigods, prayers from the wives of Kaliya. So many prayers, and it's something that as devotees we can all do. There's 9 processes of devotional service: there's Shravanam, Kirtanam, remembering, chanting and hearing and remembering Krishna and serving his feet and worshipping him. So many different aspects of devotional service that sometimes we can't, we may be feeling contaminated or fallen, or we can't worship, the Lord. We can't, sometimes we can't even chant, we can't hear, we can't do this, but everyone is capable of offering prayers. And actually, because we are fallen and conditioned, we have more incentive to offer prayers. We have more opportunity or more motivation to offer heartfelt prayers. And so I have one book at home which is actually a collection of the prayers from the Bhagavatam, and it's nice to read the mood of the devotee in offering prayers. So Prahlad offered prayers, and we'll hear those prayers later on. And there's a whole chapter. Prahlad pacifies the Lord with prayers. So there's a whole chapter because the Lord was so angry that no one could pacify him. So Prahlad was a 5-year-old boy, was sent forth to the ferocious, half man, half lion, who just killed so many demons. You go pacify him. Even Lakshmi, who is his consort, she lives with Narsimha. Lakshmi and Narsimha, they have their own planet on the Vaikuntha planets. Like all the incarnations of the Lord have their own planet. She lives with him, and she sees him every day, all the time. But she had never seen him like that. She'd never seen him so ferocious that she was unable to actually... She was scared. She was scared. Lakshmi was scared of her husband, of her consort, Narsimha. So Prahlad was the only one who could approach him. So I'll hear some of the verses from Bhagavatam. First of all, Narada is speaking. I'll just read the English translations. Narada Muni continued, all the sons of the demons appreciated the transcendental instructions of Prahlad Maharaj and took them very seriously. They rejected the materialistic instructions given by their teachers Sunda and Amarka. When Sunda and Amarka, the sons of Sukracharya, observed that all the students, the sons of the demons, were becoming advanced in Krishna consciousness, because of the association of Prahlad Maharaj, they were very afraid. They approached the king of the demons and described the situation as it was. So, because of due to Prahlad's preaching, the students who were sons of demons, they started understanding that their eternal nature was to be servants of the Lord, and this was a big problem for the parents, the teachers, and for Hiranyakashipu. When Hiranyakashipu understood the entire situation, he was extremely angry, so much so that his body trembled. Thus he finally decided to kill his son Prahlad. Hiranyakashipu was by nature very cruel, and feeling insulted he began hissing like a snake trampled upon by someone's foot. His son Prahlad was peaceful, mild and gentle. His senses were under control and stood before Hiranyakashipu with folded hands. According to Prahlad's age and behaviour, he was not to be chastised. Yet with staring crooked eyes, Hiranyakashipu rebuked him with the following harsh words. I'll read the purport for this one. When one is impudent toward a highly authorized devotee, one is punished by the laws of nature. The duration of his life is diminished, and he loses the blessings of superior persons and the results of pious activities. Hiranyakashipu, for example, had achieved such great power in the material world that he could subdue practically all the planetary systems in the universe, including the heavenly planets. Yet now, because of his mistreatment of such a Vaishnava as Prahlad Maharaj, all the results of his tapasya diminished. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.4.46, when one mistreats great souls, his lifespan, opulence, reputation, religion, possessions, and good fortune are all destroyed. Text 5. Hiranyakashipu said, O most impudent, most unintelligent disruptor of the family, O lowest of mankind, you have violated my power to rule you, and therefore you are an obstinate fool. Today I shall send you to the place of Yamaraj. like to read the purport, but it'll get very long. Now, son Prahlad, you rascal, you know that when I am angry, all the planets of the three worlds tremble, along with their chief rulers. By whose power has a rascal like you become so impudent that you appear fearless and overstep my power to rule you? I'll read the purport for this one. The relationship between a pure devotee and the Supreme Personality of God is extremely relishable. A devotee never claims to be very powerful himself. Instead, he fully surrenders to the lotus feet of Krishna, being confident that in all dangerous conditions, Krishna will protect his devotee. Krishna says himself in Bhagavad Gita, Kunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. O son of Kunti, declare boldly that my devotee never perishes. The Lord requested Arjuna to declare this instead of declaring it himself, because sometimes Krishna changes his view, and therefore people might not believe him. Thus Krishna asked Arjuna to declare that a devotee of the Lord is never vanquished. Hiranyakashipu was perplexed about how his 5-year-old boy could be so fearless that he did not care for the order of his very great and powerful father. A devotee cannot execute the order of anyone except the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the position of a devotee. Hiranyakashipu could understand that this boy must have been very powerful, since the boy did not heed his orders. Hiranyakashipu asked his son, Kim Bala, how have you overcome my order? By whose strength have you done this? Must have been very bewildering for him, being so powerful that you can control all the universe, and all the demigods and all the heavenly planets are all trembling, but your own 5-year-old son is not following your instruction. Prahlad Maharaj said, My dear king, the source of my strength, of which you are asking, is also the source of yours. Indeed, the original source of all kinds of strength is one. He is not only your strength or mine, but the only strength for everyone. Without him, no one can get any strength. Whether moving or not moving, superior or inferior, everyone, including Lord Brahma, is controlled by the strength of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just imagining like a gentle and meek 5-year-old boy saying something to his extremely powerful demonic father, which he knows is something that he's not going to like to hear. But he's safe in the understanding that the Lord will protect him, so he has no fear. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the supreme controller and time factor, is the power of the senses, the power of the mind, the power of the body, and the vital force of the senses. His influence is unlimited. He is the best of all living entities, the controller of the 3 modes of material nature. By his own power, he creates the cosmic manifestation, maintains it, and annihilates it also. Prahlad Maharaj continued, My dear father, please give up your demoniac mentality. Do not discriminate in your heart between enemies and friends. Make your mind equipoised toward everyone. Except for the uncontrolled and misguided mind, there is no enemy within this world. That's a good instruction. When one sees everyone, so there is no enemy but for the mind. When one sees everyone on the platform of equality, one then comes to the position of worshipping the Lord perfectly. In former times there were many fools like you who did not conquer the 6 enemies that steal away the wealth of the body. These fools were very proud, thinking, I have conquered all the enemies in all the 10 directions. But if a person is victorious over the 6 enemies and is equipoised toward all living entities, for him there are no enemies. Enemies are merely imagined by one in ignorance. Hiranyakashipu replied, You rascal, you are trying to minimize my value, as if you were better than me at controlling the senses. This is over-intelligent. I can therefore understand that you desire to die at my hands, for this kind of nonsensical talk is indulged in by those about to die. O most unfortunate Prahlad, you have always described a supreme being other than me, a supreme being who is above everything, who is the controller of everyone, and it was all pervading. But where is he? If he is everywhere, then why is he not present before me in this pillar? Demons sometimes declare to a devotee that they cannot accept the existence of God because they cannot see him. Have you ever heard someone say that? Have you ever had any conversation with anyone that says, I can't believe in God because I can't see him. Yeah? It's quite common.
Sometimes
People like that. You show me God and I'll believe. Until you can show, then how do you know? But what the demon does not know is stated by the Lord himself. Naham prakasha sarasya yogamaya samapritaha. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by yogamaya. The Lord is open to being seen by devotees, but non-devotees cannot see him. The qualification for seeing God is stated in Brahma Samhita. Pramanjana charita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. A devotee who has developed a genuine love for Krishna can always see him everywhere, whereas a demon not having a clear understanding of the Supreme Lord cannot see him. When Hiranyakashipu was threatening to kill Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad certainly saw the column standing before him and his father, and he saw that the Lord was present in the pillar to encourage him not to fear his demonic father's words. The Lord was present to protect him. Hiranyakashipu marked Prahlad's observation and asked him, "Where is your God?" Prahlad Maharaj replied, "He's everywhere." And Hiranyakashipu asked, "Well, why is he not in this pillar before me?" Thus, in all circumstances, the devotee can always see the Supreme Lord, whereas the non-devotee cannot. Text 13. Because you are speaking so much nonsense, I shall now sever your head from your body. Now let me see your most worshipful God come to protect you. I want to see it. Demons always think that the God of the devotees is fictitious. They think there is no God, and that the so-called religious feeling of devotion to God is but an opiate, a kind of illusion, like the illusions derived from LSD and opium. Hiranyakashipu did not believe Prahlad Maharaj when Prahlad asserted that his Lord is present everywhere. Because Hiranyakashipu was a typical demon, where he was convinced that there is no God and that no one could protect Prahlad, he felt encouraged to kill his son. He challenged the idea that the devotee is always protected by the Supreme Lord. Text 14. Being obsessed with anger, Hiranyakashipu, who was very great in bodily strength, just chastised his exalted devotee son Prahlad with harsh words. Cursing him again and again, Hiranyakashipu took up his sword, got up from his royal throne, and with great anger struck his fist against the column. Okay, I'll pause a minute here just to share something I heard today. I was listening to a class about Lord Nrsimhadev, and he was explaining that the column, when Hiranyakashipu had his palace built, he had it built by, because all the demigods were all in fear of him. He got the Vishvakarma and the architects, various architects from the heavenly planets, and he got them to design and to build his palace for him, but he personally, with his own hands, built the pillars. Hiranyakashipu built the pillars. So this is one reason why he could have struck anything or pinpointed anything. He specifically went for the pillars because he had built them, so he knew there was no one hiding in them. There was no one that could be in them because he, wasn't someone. If the demigods had built them and they had put some, neighbour or something in the pillar, but because he built, or it's the other part of it, but because he built the pillar, he knew that there was no one was in there. So then from within the pillar came a fearful sound which appeared to crack the covering of the universe. O my dear Yudhisthira, this sound reached even the abodes of the demigods. My dear Yudhisthira, who is speaking here? I thought Narad was speaking.
Narad speaking to Yudhisthira.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. And where about? On which? How did that happen? Anyway, my dear Eudocia, this sound reached even the abodes of the demigods like Lord Brahma, and when the demigods heard it, they thought, oh, now our planets are being destroyed. Purport, as we sometimes become very much afraid at the sound of thunderbolt, perhaps thinking that our houses will be destroyed, the great demigods like Lord Brahma feared the thundering sound that came from the pillar in front of Hiranyakashipu. While showing his extraordinary prowess, Hiranyakashipu, who desired to kill his own son, heard that wonderful tumultuous sound which had never been heard before. Upon hearing the sound, the other leaders of the demons were afraid. None of them could find the origin of that sound in the assembly. To prove that the statement of his servant Prahlad Maharaj was substantial, in other words, to prove that the Supreme Lord is present everywhere, even within the pillar of an assembly hall, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari exhibited a wonderful form never before seen. The form was neither that of a man nor that of a lion. Thus the Lord appeared in his wonderful form in the assembly hall. Nrsimha Bhagavan ki jai. He's appeared. So when Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad Maharaj, where is your Lord? Is he present in this pillar? Prahlad Maharaj fearlessly replied, yes, my Lord is present everywhere. Therefore, to convince Hiranyakashipu that the statement of Prahlad Maharaj was unmistakably true, the Lord appeared from the pillar. He appeared as a half lion, half man, so that Hiranyakashipu could not understand whether the great giant was a lion or a human being. While Hiranyakashipu looked all around to find the source of the sound, that wonderful form of the Lord, which could not be ascertained to be either a man or a lion, emerged from the pillar. In amazement, Hiranyakashipu wondered, what is this creature that is half man and half lion? Hiranyakashipu studied the form of the Lord, trying to decide who the form of Nrsimha standing before him was. The Lord's form was extremely fearsome because of his angry eyes, which resembled molten gold, his shining mane, which expanded the dimensions of his fearful face, his deadly teeth, and his razor-sharp tongue, which moved about like a dueling sword. His ears were erect and motionless, and his nostrils and gaping mouth appeared like caves of a mountain. His jaws parted fearfully, and his entire body touched the sky. His neck was very short, and his thick and short and thick. His chest broad, and his waist thin, and the hairs on his body were white as the razor. His arms, which resembled flanks of soldiers, spread in all directions as he killed the demons, rogues, and atheists with his conch shell, disc, club, lotus, and other natural weapons. And Hiranyakashipu murmured to himself, Lord Vishnu, who possesses great mystic power, has made this plan to kill me. But what is the use of such an attempt? Who can fight with me? Thinking like this and taking up his club, Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord like an elephant. Purport. In the jungle there are sometimes fights between lions and elephants. Here the Lord appeared like a lion, and Hiranyakashipu, unafraid of the Lord, attacked him like an elephant. Generally, the elephant is defeated by the lion, and therefore the comparison in this verse is appropriate. Just as a small insect falls forcibly into a fire and the insignificant creature becomes invisible, when Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord, who was full of effulgence, Hiranyakashipu became invisible. This is not at all astonishing, for the Lord is always situated in pure goodness. Formerly, during creation, he entered the dark universe and illuminated it by his spiritual effulgence. Thereafter, the great demon Hiranyakashipu, who was extremely angry, swiftly attacked Nrsimhadev with his club and began to beat him. Lord Nrsimhadev, however, captured the great demon along with his club, just as Garuda might capture a great snake. O Eudocia, a great son of Bharat, when Lord Nrsimhadev gave Hiranyakashipu a chance to slip from his hand, just as Garuda sometimes plays with a snake and lets it slip from his mouth, the demigods who had lost their abodes and who were hiding behind the clouds for fear of the demon did not consider that incident very good. Indeed, they were perturbed. Purport. When Hiranyakashipu was in the process of being killed by Lord Nrsimhadev, the Lord gave the demon a chance to slip from his clutches. This incident was not very much appreciated by the demigods, for they were greatly afraid of Hiranyakashipu. They knew that if somehow or other Hiranyakashipu escaped from Nrsimhadev's hands and saw that the demigods were looking forward to his death with great pleasure, he would take great revenge upon them. Therefore they were very much afraid. When Hiranyakashipu was freed from the hands of Nrsimhadev, he falsely thought that the Lord was afraid of his prowess. Therefore, after taking a little rest from the fight, he took up his sword and shield and again attacked the Lord with great force. Making a loud, shrill sound of laughter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, who was extremely strong and powerful, captured Hiranyakashipu, who was protecting himself with his sword and shield, leaving no gaps open. With the speed of a hawk, Hiranyakashipu moved sometimes in the sky and sometimes on the earth, his eyes closed because of fear of Nrsimhadev's laughter. As a snake captures a mouse, or Garuda captures a very venomous snake, Lord Nrsimhadev captured Hiranyakashipu, who could not be pierced even by the thunderbolt of King Indra. As Hiranyakashipu moved his limbs here, there and all around, very much afflicted by being captured, Lord Nrsimhadev placed the demon on his lap, supporting him with his thighs, and in the doorway of the assembly hall, the Lord very easily tore the demon to pieces with the nails of his hand. We all know the background behind that as to why he was killed like that from the burn of Lord Brahma. Hiranyakashipu got those burns, so he could not be killed by any weapon, or daytime or nighttime, or land or air or water, and you can't outsmart the Lord. And no matter how smart you are, how many conditions you make, or how tricky you think you are, the Lord is always trickier. He can outsmart. He's 1,000 steps ahead. So you think you can manipulate things to get your own way, but the Lord is always smarter. He can always defeat your ideas if he wants. So Lord Nrsimhadev's mouth and mane were sprinkled with drops of blood, and his fierce eyes, full of anger, were impossible to look at. Licking the edge of his mouth with his tongue, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nrsimhadev, decorated with a garland of intestines taken from Hiranyakashipu's abdomen, resembled a lion that had just killed an elephant. Purport: the hair on Lord Nrsimhadev's face, my hairs are standing on end, just reading. The hair on Lord Nrsimhadev's face, being sprinkled with drops of blood, was reddish and looked very beautiful. Lord Nrsimhadev pierced Hiranyakashipu's abdomen with his nails, pulled out the demon's intestines and wore them as a garland, which enhanced his beauty. Thus the Lord became very fearsome, like a lion engaged in fighting an elephant. So you'll see on that picture there, there's the lion. He's got a garland of the intestines of the demon. I remember when I was my first wife Janet, she had two boys, and one of them, his name was Nathan, and when he was a little boy, there's a brand of beer called Lion Nathan, and he was a Leo as well. He was born, so he identified with being a lion, Lion Nathan, and also he was a Leo. And so he had a big picture of Lord Nrsimha in his room, and then sometimes his friends would come over from school, like 5-6-year-old boys, and they'd come and they'd see this gory, there's a big picture in his room, and they'd look at it and they'd go, this is like, that's so scary, something scary, like killing a demon, and intestines and blood, and it's not like what you'd expect for a 5-year-old boy room.
Okay.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who had many, many arms, first uprooted Hiranyakashipu's heart and then threw him aside and turned toward the demon's soldiers. These soldiers had come in thousands to fight with him with raised weapons and were very faithful followers of Hiranyakashipu. But Lord Nrsimha killed all of them merely with the ends of his nails. Purport: since the creation of the material world, there have been two kinds of men, the Devas and the Asuras. The Devas are always faithful to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereas the Asuras are always atheists who defy the supremacy of the Lord. At the present moment, throughout the entire world, the atheists are extremely numerous. They are trying to prove that there is no God and that everything takes place due to combinations and permutations of material elements. Thus the material world is becoming more and more godless, and consequently everything is in a disturbed condition. If this continues, the Supreme Personality of Godhead will certainly take action, as he did in the case of Hiranyakashipu. Within a second, Hiranyakashipu and his followers were destroyed, and similarly, if this godless civilization continues, it will be destroyed in a second, simply by the movement of one finger of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The demons should therefore be careful and curtail the godless civilization. They should take advantage of the Krishna consciousness movement and become faithful to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, they are doomed. As Hiranyakashipu was killed in a second, the godless civilization can be destroyed at any moment. The hair on the Shringadev's head shook the clouds and scattered them here and there. His glaring eyes stole the effulgence of the luminaries in the sky, and his breathing agitated the seas and oceans. Because of his roaring, all the elephants in the world began to cry in fear. Airplanes were thrown into outer space and the upper planetary system by the hair of Nrsingadev's head. Because of the pressure of the Lord's lotus feet, the earth appeared to slip from its position, and all the hills and mountains sprang up due to his intolerable force. Because of the Lord's bodily effulgence, both the sky and all directions diminished in their natural illumination. Manifesting a full effulgence and a fearsome countenance, Lord Nrsinga, being very angry and finding no contestant to face his power and opulence, then sat down in the assembly hall on the excellent throne of the king. Because of fear and obedience, no one could come forward to serve the Lord directly. Purport. When the Lord sat on the throne of Hiranyakashipu, there was no one to protest. No enemy came forward on behalf of Hiranyakashipu to fight with the Lord. This means that his supremacy was immediately accepted by the demons. Another point is that although Hiranyakashipu treated the Lord as his bitterest enemy, he was the Lord's faithful servant in Vaikuntha, and therefore the Lord had no hesitation in sitting on the throne that Hiranyakashipu had so laboriously created. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks in this connection that sometimes with great care and attention, great saintly persons and rishis offer the Lord valuable seats dedicated with Vedic mantras and tantras, but still the Lord does not sit upon those thrones. Hiranyakashipu, however, had formerly been Jai, the doorkeeper of the Vaikuntha gate, and although he had fallen because of the curse of the Brahmanas and had gotten the nature of a demon, and although he had never offered anything to the Lord as Hiranyakashipu, the Lord is so affectionate to his devotee and servant that he nonetheless took pleasure in sitting on the throne that Hiranyakashipu had created. In this regard, it is to be understood that a devotee is fortunate in any condition of his life. Hiranyakashipu had been exactly like a fever of meningitis in the head of the three worlds. Thus, when the wives of the demigods in the heavenly planets saw that the great demon had been killed by the personal hands of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, their faces blossomed in great joy. The wives of the demigods again and again showered flowers from heaven upon Lord Nrsingadev like rain. At that time, the airplanes of the demigods who desired to see the activities of the Supreme Lord Narayan crowded the sky. The demigods began beating drums and kettle drums, and upon hearing them, the angelic woman began to dance, while the chiefs of the Gandharvas sang sweetly. My dear King Yudhisthira, the demigods then approached the Lord. They were headed by Lord Brahma, King Indra, and Lord Shiva, and included great saintly persons in the residence of Pitraloka, Siddhaloka, Vidyadharaloka, and the planet of the snakes. The Manus approached, and so did the chiefs of various other planets. The angelic dancers approached, as did the Gandharvas, the Charamas, the Yakshas, the inhabitants of Kanaraloka and Vitalas, and the inhabitants of Kimpurushloka, and the personal servants of Vishnu, like Sunanda and Pramuda. All of them came near the Lord, who glowed with intense light. They individually offered their obeisances and prayers, their hands folded at their heads. Lord Brahma prayed, My Lord, you are unlimited, and you possess unending potencies. No one can estimate or calculate your prowess and wonderful influence, for your actions are never polluted by the material energy. Through the material qualities, you very easily create the universe, maintain it, and again annihilate it, yet you remain the same without deterioration. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Lord Shiva said, "The end of the millennium is the time for your anger. Now that this insignificant demon, Hiranyakashipu, has been killed, O my Lord, who are naturally affectionate to your devotee, kindly protect his son Prahlad Maharaj, who is standing nearby as your fully surrendered servant." King Indra said, "O Supreme Lord, you are our deliverer and protector. Our shares of sacrifices, which were actually yours, have been recovered from the demon by you. Because the demonic king Hiranyakashipu was most fearsome, our hearts, which are your permanent abode, were all overtaken by him. Now, by your presence, the gloom and darkness in our hearts have been dissipated. O Lord, for those who are always engaged in your service, which is more exalted than liberation, all material opulence is insignificant. We do not even care for liberation, nor to speak of the benefits of karma, artha, and dharma." So there's a lot more prayers from different evidence of Pitraloka, their prayers, evidence of Siddhaloka's prayers, Vidyadhara Loka, so there's lots of prayers here. Evidence of Gandharva Loka, Jarana Loka.
What chapter is that?
This is chapter 8. Yeah, so that's how the chapter ends. So yeah, the chapter ends with lots of prayers to the Lord, and then after that, Prahlad offers his prayers.
The Prahlad Kavacham. It's a 5-6 minute Kavacham. If you hear that, there's a lot of benefits you get.
Oh yeah.
Things calm, especially in your life. This uncertainty stabilizes. A lot of benefits.
These prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. Yeah, Prahlad. What's it called? Prahlad.
Kavacham. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, I'll just.
Maybe you could share it on the WhatsApp group.
Narsimha Kavacham.
String Kavacham.
And then it's an English translation. You'll be amazed the benefits of it.
Hare Krishna.
And then there's devotees
Hare Krishna, Usha. Nice to see you.
from there's Vrindavan, I think there's
Right, yeah, could be. Yeah, they have a big Nrsimha.
Veeram Mahavishnu.
Right. Yeah, nice. So we've just been hearing a little bit about pastimes of Lord Nrsimha and Prahlad Maharaj. So I thought I'd probably stop there. Yeah, I'll stop there, and maybe we can sing some. We should sing the Nrsimha at some stage. Yeah. So quite an amazing pastime and an amazing form.
Were you reading from Srimad Bhagavatam?
Mm. Yeah, actually, I've been away all day. I've been here all day today, and Vanessa, she's homeschooling her kids, and so I went